Ladies and gentlemen, hustlers of all ages, welcome to the Six Figure Playbook with your host, Alan, the Ace Man Dickie.
And we are live. Actually, we're not live because this is a podcast. It's live for me, but not live for all of you listening. Neither here nor there. Welcome. Welcome, everybody. This is the birth. This podcast has been in labor for quite some time. And I'm super excited to finally be here to share with you the first ever, the inaugural episode of the Six Figure Playbook with your host, myself, Alan, the Ace Man Dickie. I'm super excited to be here with all of you. To give you a background for those who are listening to my voice for the first time, my name's Alan Dicky. I'm a sales trainer, speaker, motivator, primarily focused in the automotive industry, but serving all businesses of all kinds. And a background on my history, I got started in the car business in 99, 2000, around the age of 20, and spent well over a decade inside dealerships at all roles, really experiencing an amazing industry, an amazing business, but what I refer to as my university, my schooling in life, if you will, and that was the education provided to me in the car business. And since 2010, I started my company, AlanDicky.com, where our focus is training and developing this automotive sales professionals across the world. And one of the things with the Six Figure Playbook podcast, this is something that's been in my mind and on my heart for a long time, but the goal has always been simple, regardless of industry. You know, I always say sales is sales is sales. The only thing that changes is X, and X equals the product. So I figured when it comes to becoming a true, strong six-figure performer, regardless of what industry, what product, thought, idea, concept you're selling to other human beings, there are a series of principles that really need to be understood and implemented in your lives, in your businesses, and in your careers if you're truly going to experience the success that you want and deserve. And hear what I just said there, that you want and deserve, because that's where I want to go on our first episode, is that word want. I think this is one of the most dangerous words on the planet. It's right behind can't. You know, those are two that I'm not sure how to define, nor do I require anybody to define them for me. I want nothing to do with the word can't and with the word want. And this is the biggest problem that so many face when it comes to creating six-figure performances in their lives. And it's the difference between wanting and doing. You know, I always say to people, as long as you're wanting and wishing, you're in no danger of attaining. You know, as long as you want to be a six-figure performer, you are in no danger of becoming one. Rest assured, your money is safe. You will not hit the mark. And that's the biggest problem that so many run into is they constantly speak about wanting to do something instead of figuring out a game plan to actualize it and then just take massive action towards that game plan. And that's something that I want to talk about and help give you, all of you listeners, the steps, the fundamental principles that'll show you how to get there. Now, before we get into that, I want to talk about something here because we're talking about the six-figure playbook. You know, when I look around on social media and I look out into the marketplace, all I see everywhere is a lot of talk and coaching and people saying, hey, this is how you become a millionaire. This is the Jillionaire Playbook. Want to learn how to make a trillion? And all this stuff to me is nonsense. It's nonsense for, well, a couple of reasons. You know, number one, it's nonsense because in the country, this is an alarming stat, but in the country, only 3% earns a six-figure income or greater. Okay, that means 97% don't. And so if we're going to talk about how to be a millionaire, how to be a jillionaire, a trillionaire, I don't even know how many zeros come after the trillionaire. I need to find out because the goals are high. But if I want to do any of those things, I'm going to have to cross through this space that is the six-figure space. And that six-figure space is $100,000 to $999,000. And that's what I'm focused on showing all of you and teaching all of you some wonderful steps and ideas and principles that you can take action on in this podcast to get you there. So, circling back, we're talking about wanting. We got to stop wanting. Listen, Ironically enough, I'm filming this inaugural episode just days away from the new year. It's 2017. This is Christmas Eve, actually. I'm doing this on Christmas Eve because we're getting prepared to really hit the ground running in the Six Figure Playbook come the new year, January 2018. But as I'm recording this, there's going to be a lot of people who, over this next week, will be game planning for themselves on, hey, how can I make life better than it was last year, all right? One of the things you always want to remember is that good old definition of insanity. Doing the same thing, taking the same actions, and expecting a different result. This is not something that you want to be focused on or trying to accomplish in 2018. You're looking to improve. And the first thing we need to do is make decisions. We need to make a decision that we're no longer going to want to achieve these income levels in our careers and our businesses, and that we're actually going to do them. And, you know, it's funny. I say to people all the time, you are, and your life is, your career is a byproduct of your decision making. You know, if you're happy with where you're at, if you're happy with the income you're making, the way your life looks, keep doing more of what you're doing, man. You're making great decisions. But if you're not, changing this can be as simple as simply changing the decision making. You know, I think about Seinfeld. If any of you aren't familiar with that show, then Google it. But everybody knows Seinfeld. And when you think about Seinfeld, I think about that one character, George Costanza. And George Costanza, I remember in one of the episodes, he came into the cafe there and he said to Jerry, he says, "That's it. I've had it. I'm done, man. I'm done." Jerry's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "I don't have a girlfriend. I'm unemployed and I live at home with my parents. Today, I'm just going to start doing everything the opposite." This was his game plan. And you want to know something? Sometimes in life, ignorance can be bliss. And that's why I love this example, because I love George's approach. You see, things were so horrible, things were going so bad in his life, that simply by just doing the opposite of what he would normally decide to do, he knew that was going to be a step up from where he currently existed. That's how bad things were. And I think, you know, all of us at different phases in our life have realized the way we're going about trying to accomplish a certain goal or a task is just not working. It's not being effective. And so one of the best places to start when you're going to try something new is, hey, go in the opposite direction, man. See what happens. Needless to say, in this example of Seinfeld, in that very coffee shop when George said to Jerry, "That's it, from now on, anything I would normally do, I'm going to do the opposite." Well, he made that commitment, and a really attractive lady came into the coffee shop. And when this lady came into the coffee shop to go and order a coffee or whatever she was doing, George looked at Jerry, poised with his new game plan, and he went and took action. He walked up to this lady and he said, "My name's George Costanza. I'm unemployed. I live at home with my parents. Would you like to go out on a date with me?" And there was a short pause, and then this lady looked at him and responded, "Well, yeah, I would." Needless to say, if you remember the show, a series of these types of events took place. George ended up landing the girl, moving out to a nice apartment with said girl, and also landed a job as a vice president or something for the New York Yankees. So it was a funny sitcom, but when you think back to that as an example, sometimes it's doing something that simple that can really turn things around for you. So when you're thinking about your careers, I mean, think about the actions you're taking on a daily basis. Moving into the new year, if you're going to make a decision that you are a six-figure performer, you are doing and performing and generating a six-figure income for 2018, then you need to start designing a plan for that. You need to start planning your work and working your plan. So I want you to think to yourselves, up until now, listening to this very podcast, what were the actions? What does your day look like on a day in and day out basis? Think about this. If you don't know where you're going, any road is going to take you there. Is that how you've been operating? Ask yourself. Because the thing is, when you take a look at the amount of hours that you're going to delegate to your responsibility, your profession, your business, your career, when you're going to do that, you want to be efficient with that time. And you want to make sure that you are maximizing every hour you're going to be focusing in those areas. You know, it's one of these things I love when you hear, hustle, man, hustle, everything hustle. Ignore your family, ignore your kids, ignore your friends, ignore everyone in life and hustle. Well, listen, there's some truth to that, but that shouldn't be the game plan the entire way. Hustling to that degree is a season. When you commit to becoming a six-figure performer, you do commit to a season of hustling that hard, but doing that for a life is an exercise in futility as far as I'm concerned. You can't take the money with you when you go. We all have heard that and we all know that. So there is an element of balance that, of course, we're looking to achieve. But in the infancy of this decision, of this commitment, a lot of hustle is going to be required. But back to what I'm talking about, the planning of your day and planning your work and working your plan. What I want you to do as of right now, okay, as of this episode, is I want you to take inventory of your time. I want you to make a decision that in 2018, starting right now in this episode, regardless of when you're hearing this episode for the first time, again, we're doing this January 2018, but making a decision that you're going to become that performer, and then making a decision that you're going to take inventory of your time and you're going to design a plan every single day on how you're going to expend your energy during the time that you've allocated to work, to your career, to your business, to your profession. And then what I want you to do is start to take an inventory of time and then fill those slots of time with actions that are going to move you towards your goal. Guys, this is real simple. If we're talking about creating prospects, well, I'll use the car business for example. One of the things that I teach all sales representatives in their careers is that they should judge their days by the seeds they sow and not by what they reap. So a game plan on a daily basis is going to be, hey, I need to find 10 new names, email addresses, and phone numbers that I can add to my power base. Because again, that's sowing seed. Trying to play psychic and just conveniently find customers who have a need for a vehicle on a day-to-day basis, that's dangerous. And that's what, unfortunately, the mass majority of people in business do. This is why there's so many victims. This is why 97% of the country does not experience the income levels that we're talking about here on this show. But what you want to do is you want to have inventory of your time and then make a game plan. So if you do need to, acquire 10 new names, email addresses, and phone numbers, then allocate hours in the day where you're going to fill up those spaces of time, pouring energy into that task. How are you going to accomplish that? It could be via the telephone. It could be via some social media. It could be via a number of ways. My point is simply allocate a block of time during your day to whatever, action you're going to take in the name of achieving your goal, and then commit to taking it and doing it. I can't stress it enough. When we talk about, well, me personally, I remember being told to write your goals down. Write your goals down every night, every morning, and it made sense. I totally understood that. Yet I didn't do it until I was probably, 24, 25 years old, and that's when my income levels completely changed. There's something very valuable about writing your goals down every night and every morning. One of the biggest things is it provides a focus for you. I always say focus provides discipline. If you're focused on what your goal is, you're going to be the six-figure performer, and you're going to take a certain amount of action between 11 and 1 o'clock on every Monday, whatever your game plan is. This holds true to all aspects of life. Think about when you're ever on a diet, right? When you're focused on losing a few pounds, when somebody offers you that piece of cake for dessert after a meal, you've got the discipline to turn it away because of your goal, your focus, right? So having a goal and having a focus is definitely going to be vitally important to maintaining the level of energy, focus, and attention on carrying out these tasks you're going to design for yourself, starting right now. So keep this in mind. We're going to do a lot of episodes. We're going to be expounding upon a lot of these principles that I've just shared in this first episode here. But the goal is I want to give you stuff early and often. I want to give you episodes that allow us to hang out for that 15 to 20 minutes to get it in before the start of a day, to get it in at the end of a day, or anytime you find that free time where you're ready to focus on sharpening and developing your abilities to becoming a long-lasting six-figure performer. So, as a quick recap, this is our first episode. I'm super excited about this. It's really cool to finally be sitting in front of the mic and being able to have a platform to really just share what's inside my head with all of you. But make it a focus. It's about decisions. Stop wanting. As long as you want or wish to become a six-figure performer, you are in absolutely no danger of becoming one. This is about decision making and the power of making decisions. Make a decision right now. Make a decision today that you are a six-figure performer, and make a decision based on a fundamental fact, and that is you cannot become the guy until you become the guy. It all starts between your ears, folks. The biggest sale and the biggest close that'll ever occur in your career is you closing yourself on being somebody who is a six-figure performer. I'll show you how to become a well-rounded six-figure performer, balancing a wonderful and successful career, business, and life, not only professionally, but personally as well. We've got a lot of places to go on this podcast. And again, I'm super, super excited to have all of you aboard. But for that, I think we're going to wrap up on our first episode. Be sure to check out the Six Figure Playbook Facebook group. Get involved there where we're creating a revolution. And as well, you can always find me at www.alandicky.com. Thanks for joining me on this first episode, the inaugural episode of the Six Figure Playbook. We're just getting started and lives are going to change. Make it a great day and we'll see you next time. Thanks.